is Kawena, and the title for my speech is The Other Side of Right. Okay, so I'll write that down for a second. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about a minority that we all have been in contact with. It's some people that we are in contact with every day and we don't even know it. They're constantly discriminated against, and I think it's great that we all were more aware of the problems that they face. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about left-handed people. Yes. I'm going to be telling you a little bit of history about left-handed people, some interesting facts about them, and some of the difficulties that they face. So now let's get into the left-handed person's history. Okay, so left-handed people, to define it, left-handed people are people who use their left hand to do things. It's pretty straightforward, more than writing, to interact with each other, to use tools to work. They use their left hand, it's dominant. But it's not something that's a modern thing. In fact, right-handed bias against left-handed dates back 500,000 years ago. So let's think about that. 500,000 years. Who existed in the world 5,000 years ago? Neanderthals. So how did they figure this out? Believe it or not, they used the teeth of Neanderthals to see whether or not they were left-handed or right-handed. And what they did is they saw that whatever teeth was corroded on one side, that was actually the dominant hand of the Neanderthals, because they would pull skin height, they would put it in their teeth and pull with the hand that they're dominant with. If you think about it, we do that now with how we eat. Whatever food that you put in your mouth, you usually chew on the side that you're dominant with. So again, left-handedness and right-handedness dates way back 500,000 years ago. If you look currently now in the world, there's 10% of people who are left-handed. So that's what I meant by they're a minority. It's a very small number compared to everyone else. Just really quickly, how many people are left-handed in the room?
You raise what you write. But you raise what you write.
That is the statistics right there. We have about 20 people in the room, and only 2 of us are left-handed. 10%. So it fits right into there. There's a book that my mom gave me when I was little. It's called The Left-Hander's Guide to the World. And it has a whole bunch of facts about being left-handed when you're little. The language is something that that's been molded around this left-handedness. I'm going to go over a couple words that kind of incorporate left and right-handed, and you'll see why we're discriminated against. Let's take the word right, for instance. Right. What does right mean? It means correct. It means it means proper. It's not fair, but okay, right in the root of it, right is always deemed as something that is good. The Latin word dexter, actually the root of where the word dexterity came from. And dexterity means to be skillful. So right was always looked upon as something that was good. If we take left-handed, think of it in another different way. The Latin word for left is sinister. You guys know that? Oh. Yeah. Sinister, we take as evil, means left. Left-handed. They literally call them sinister. And we think about the language that we use with left-handed people. Take, for example, a left-handed compliment. It's an insult, right? Am I correct? Yes. When we talk about the left wing of things, or what's left of the group, it's always a negative connotation that's talking in the word left that we don't quite think about. So I'm just kind of bringing awareness to this. Speaking of sinister, I want to talk to you a second about my mom. That came out wrong, but left-handedness is actually hereditary. So my mom was left-handed. So, sinister people religiously believe that left-handed people are evil. Because if you look in the Bible, there's this phrase that says Jesus sits on the right hand of the Father, and that Lucius, the devil, actually sat on the left hand. So in Catholic school, when my mom was grown up, she was left-handed, and they beat her with rulers and duct-taped drumsticks until she was right-handed. They even tied her left hand behind her back so that she could eat and write with her right hand only, which is child abuse nowadays. Another thing about left-handed people, August 13th is actually our day. That's the International Left-Handers Day, so just be aware, get me something on August 13th. And Kyra too. So now that I told you a little bit of history about left-handed people, I want to tell you some interesting facts about left-handed people. Left-handed people, they hear differently than right-handed people. Right-handed people, they easily pick up sharp sounds. So the consonant in a word. Left-handed people, they have subtle hearing. So they're able to detect things like music. slight shifts in notes, and it's really irritating because I can detect if somebody's flat in a song or singing, but it's something that I'm genetically incapable of doing. You can hear those subtle sounds. Another thing about left-handed people is a large amount of the U.S. presidents are left-handed. So let's think about this for a second. But out of the past 7 presidents, 4 of them were left-handed. And there's a reason for this if you think about it. So about a while ago, people started putting presidential debates on TV. When you're left-handed, and you face the audience like this, and you use your left hand to describe right-handed people, it looks to them like you're right-handed. So it's a nonverbal way of kind of going with the side that looks correct to you. Because if the majority of the people are right-handed, and the person who you're mirroring is left-handed, it looks like they're correct, so to speak. Even though someone who's more similar to you using their right hand, it looks left. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so nonverbal cues, you might be voting for someone just because they're using a certain side of hand. You may not even know it. Another thing interesting fact about left-handed people is they're dubbed as being more creative. You ever heard that we use the right side of our brain for critical thinking, the left-handed for creative thinking? Well, all that aside, now that we know a little bit more about brain function, we use both sides. But my theory about the whole thing about left-handed people being creative is they're creative because it's a survival tactic. They have to, no, they literally have to take things that are made for right-handed people and switch it around and try and find creative ways to use it for their own advantage. For example, my watch, the buttons are on the right side, and usually you use the watch on the side of the hand that you are, but I have to kind of switch it around and do a little funky thing with it, being able to use it. So they have to find creative ways to get in and out of things and to be in different situations, and that's why I believe that they're more creative. Now that I told you some interesting facts about left-handed people, I want to tell you about some difficulties that we face as a minority. Okay, so this fact it kind of blew me out of the water when I'm thinking about it. But do you know that left-handed people are more prone to disease and illness? Yeah, 20% of schizophrenics. 20% of schizophrenics are left-handed. Left-handed people are more prone to dyslexia, ADHD, mood disorders, anger problems, and fear. It's been proven in many studies, and it's quite sad, but it's the truth nonetheless. One of the biggest things that we face are common objects in the world and common practices that we have as society that's against left-handed people. For instance, writing. Yeah. So, writing with your left hand can be difficult sometimes because it gets all over you. And your writing styles that we use nowadays, it's for right hand. It's supposed to flow. It's cursive as well. Growing up, I used to write notes backwards. They told me to stop for once in a while, but yeah. It was something I did for a while. I can write pages like that, but because it's easier. And some people, they shift their paper to a degree to write to make it easier. So it's that creative thinking. We have to find ways around and be able to maneuver. Another thing, again, pens, scissors. Scissors were a pain in the butt growing up. Scissors are molded for right hands, so they're more comfortable, so you actually have blisters when you use scissors. It sucks. Driving, stick shifts on the right. That's how it is, but you gotta adapt to that, especially pedaling. The pedal, when you maneuver, when you drive, I had to, I guess, adapt to using that. It was quite difficult at first for me. I don't know about anybody else. Eating. When we eat at the table, it's not only where you place your forks and knives, it's also where you sit. Left-handed people, they kind of, without even thinking about it, they have to kind of find the edge of the table, or they can't sit by other right-handed people because you elbow them the entire time, and they get irritated. And you don't mean to, it just happens that way. Another thing is handshakes. We shake with our right hand. Historically, people would eat and do clean things with their right hand, and they would clean themselves with their left hand. So it transfers today to we shake with our right hand, but it feels awkward for left-handed people to shake your hand because that's not our dominant hand. It just doesn't feel the same. Another thing is computers. Computer mice, to be more specific. Trying to maneuver it, it's a little funky. Another thing is rulers. When you use a ruler, the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. it's actually easier for a left-handed person if they were numbered 1, 2, 3 this way to measure. So you kind of gotta do a backwards thing when you're left-handed. And a big thing is playing cards, because when you play cards, the symbols are in the symbols and everything are made for right-handed players. So you kind of got to shift that around too. So now that I've said some difficulties, I want to just sum it all up for you for this. In conclusion, left-handers have it hard. Nobody really thinks about us all the time. I told you a little history about it, some interesting facts about us, some difficulties, and now I hope you're more aware of who we are as a people and a little bit more sensitive. Thank you.